Well, good morning. Welcome in our webinar. Great that you're joining us today. Today we will tell you how you optimize your warehouse management with the smart solution Tasklet Factory. This webinar will be recorded and I will share the link of the recording a few days after the webinar, so you can rewatch it or share it with your team. If you have questions, please write them down and share them in the chat, and we'll go over them at the end of the webinar. My name is Marielle Vos, and I'm responsible for the webinars, events, and social media of Succeeded, and I really love doing that. I'm hosting this webinar together with Martin from Tasklet Factory. Martin, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Martin and coming from Tasklet Factory in Denmark. So that's why we need to do this in English. My role at Tasklet is partner manager. So I'm responsible for the commercial part together with Succeed IT and working together with the partners globally. And I'll be having the honor to give you the introduction to Tasklet and the benefits of the solution through this webinar.
Great, thank you, Martin. Then the agenda for today. Martin will tell you all about the background of Tasklet Factory, and he will demonstrate how the app works. And then we'll go over some new features and possibilities of Tasklet Factory, which are recently launched or planning to launch on short-term. And then we will continue with some frequently asked questions, and we will finish with some questions maybe from you. So, all right, great. Martin, well,
Go ahead.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marielle. And again, thank you all for joining this webinar. The idea of this webinar is to give you an introduction to what Tasklet is. I have a few slides to begin with, but I'll also go into demo mode. So I have a scanner here in my hand, which I'll use for the demo purpose. But to begin with, I have a few slides just to do an introduction to Tasklet and what it's all about. What we're going to talk about today is, of course, how to optimize the processes in the warehouse. Tasklet is an add-on or an app for Business Central, or NAV for that matter as well, but let's focus on Business Central today. It's an app for the warehouse processes, so you are able to handle the processes that you see here directly on a handheld device, a scanner, instead of using pen and paper or going back to a workstation to do the things. Then you can do everything around receiving, put away, moves, pick, shipment, doing counting, and even assembly and production we can do from the scanner as well. So everything is basically covered by Tasklet. The idea is that you need to set up Business Central to support the processes that you want to use on Tasklet, because the engine behind the solution is Business Central. So the more advanced you're using Business Central, the more advanced you can use Tasklet as well. We support the most simple warehouse setup in Business Central with purchase orders and sales orders, but also the more advanced where you use the warehouse documents like warehouse receipt, warehouse picks. So if you have that functionality available in Business Central, you also gain more functionality on Tasklet. Great, but all what you see here on the screen today is something I'll touch base on the demo as well. Really brief around Tasklet as a company. We are, as mentioned in the beginning, a Danish company founded back in 2008. And what we do is to make this app for Business Central. We closely work together with partners like Succeed IT, who have been one of our partners for many years and have huge experience with Tasklet and also warehouse management in Business Central. So we developed the app, make sure that it contains all the features that is required here in 2024, and also coming up with some new exciting features in the years to come. And then our partners like Succeed IT set up the solution with you as a customer, talk through the processes that you need to be supported. So they will be the one that you have the main dialogue with. We're having a little more than 1,700 customers today on our solution across the globe. As mentioned, we're headquartered out of Denmark, but also have an office in the US handling our activities over there. An important aspect of the solution is also the hardware, the scanners. Tasklet supports like 30 different scanners from Zebra, Honeywell, and Datalogic, and it has to be one of those that you choose if you want to go with Tasklet. You cannot just choose a cheap Chinese version and hope it will work, because it won't work. It has to be one of those scanners. And we will be more than pleased to have a dialogue with you as a customer to find out what kind of scanner suits you the best So we make sure that you select a scanner that fits your requirements, and of course work with Tasklet. But we don't go into details with hardware in this session. If you have questions about it, reach out to Succeed IT or us afterwards, and we'll be happy to discuss hardware in more details. The reason for going for a mobile WMS solution is, of course, to digitalize your warehouse and to be much more efficient than you probably are today, because you can handle all processes from the handheld device. So removing pen and paper and a lot of work on a workstation and be able to do that from a handheld device is one of the key benefits of the solution. A benefit is also, of course, to start using barcodes to validate the correct items that you're receiving and the correct items that you're sending to your customers. So that's, of course, also a huge benefit. And what we see from customers is that they just get a lot more efficient, being able to handle a lot more orders, receive faster, do counting faster when they do it on a mobile device, instead of using the more traditional way of working with pen and paper and typing it in again on a workstation. So that's the benefits that we normally see customers having with the Tasklet Mobile WMS solution. If we zoom in specifically on Tasklet, and what we try to be really good at in our development of the solution is to make a solution that's really user-friendly, which hopefully you'll see once we come to the demo. It means that we have a lot of customers with seasonal workers that come in for Christmas or in the weekends or during the summer period, and is not expert in Business Central at all. They get a scanner in the hand and is still able to do, you can say, handle the process in the warehouse by using the scanner with very, very little training. So they don't need to be a Business Central expert to do this in the warehouse. They can just have the scanner in the hand and do a receive, do a pick, do a count with very little introduction. So easy to use is one of the key things with Tasklet. It's a standard solution for Business Central, meaning that once you set up Business Central and it supports the processes in the warehouse you would like, it's very easy to install Tasklet. It's just an app that needs to be installed, and then you're basically up and going. What I'm going to show you today is our standard. However, our solution is also easy to customize. So if there's something or some processes that you're using in Business Central that's not standard, but something that has been tailor-made for you, Tasklet can be customized as well. The rule of thumb is that it has to be possible to do it in Business Central before you can do it in Tasklet as well. Again, because Business Central is the engine behind the solution. Our solution works both online and offline, meaning if you have spots in the warehouse who don't have Wi-Fi connectivity, you don't lose data on Tasklet. You can still do a receive, you can still do a pick offline, but of course we need to be online once you need to post an order. Also, what we see today is more and more of customers buy scanners with the possibility to use a SIM card, the tele network. So if you don't have Wi-Fi, you can also use scanners with a tele network if that is needed. Especially if you're outside a warehouse, then it might be neat to have that SIM card option as well. If you ask our customers and partners what they like the most with Tasklet, besides having a fantastic product, it is our support. I already mentioned in the beginning that Succeed IT is one of the most experienced partners that we have. So they may not need a lot of support from our side, but from time to time they also come across scenarios that they haven't met before, and then we are here to help them. Having more than 1,700 projects under our belt, we have a huge experience in working with warehouses and how to optimize that. So we're here to help our partners in case it's needed, which is very important that it's a team effort to get this solution up and running at you as a customer. So that's very important for us to mention as well. If we look at the technical infrastructure behind the solution, the scanners is running Android Enterprise. And as already mentioned in the beginning, Honeywell, Zebra, and Datalogic is the brands that we support. You can see the full list of supported devices at our website. And it's web service that makes sure that data comes from your scanner back to Business Central. As part of our solution, we also have a device management system called SOTI Mobile Control that allows you as a customer, Succeeded as a partner, and us as the supplier to access the scanners remotely. So if you have multiple warehouses or just want to have a quick response on some questions that you have some functionality, we can log onto the scanner, see what's happening, and giving you some advice. We can do the installation remotely as well. So again, for you as a customer, it's a huge advantage that we don't need to send out a consultants to help you. We can do everything remotely. So it's a lot faster and more cost efficient than having to send a consultants to your warehouses and see what's happening. So it's a very important part of our solution that we have this device management tool as well. Great. I already mentioned in the beginning that we had a bunch of customers. I think in the Netherlands we have at least more than 100. I think we're getting closer to 200 customers using our solutions. If it's interesting for you to know more about those customers, please visit our website. As you can see here, it's across all sectors that Tasklet is being used. The most important thing is, of course, you have a warehouse and you have a decent level of activities where it would make sense to do an optimization and a digitalization of that process. So please visit our website if you have more interest in looking up who's using Tasklet and why they're doing it. I rather want to spend some time in doing some demo so you can see how the solution actually works, seen from a warehouse perspective. But just before going into demo mode, I briefly want to touch base on the barcodes, which is also an essential part of the solution. We of course support both the classic 1D barcodes that you see here on top with the chocolate. But if you have items using item tracking like serial number or lot number, then having these GS1 data matrix barcodes will give you an advantage, because in one scan you can both do a registration of the item, the expiration date, and the lot number. So you don't need to do multiple scans or manual registration of this. So that's just a recommendation from our side. If possible, use the GS1 data matrix, especially when using lot tracking or serial number tracking. You also notice that we have barcodes here on the bins, on the positions in the warehouse. We also recommend to have that because we want to validate that we're putting the items on the correct bin and picking them up from the correct bin as well. So just having a barcode on the bins will just make your life easier and make sure that you're actually at the right position and picking up the right goods. Enough about the barcodes. Let's go into to the demo. So I'll just stop sharing this and try to share my scanning device instead. So just a second here, and then we should be live and rolling with that. So now you should be able to see the scanner device. Hopefully I'm right there. If I'm not, Mariella probably need to stop me.
No, it's okay. Yep.
It's okay, yeah. So the
Yes.
scanner should be here on the screen. I have that physically here in front of me as well. So I'll just go one step back. So here's the user will log in with their username and password. And that will determine, of course, what kind of user rights that you have as a user. In my scenario here, I have access to full functionality. So here I can see everything. But if you have employees who are only doing counting or receiving, you can remove the icons that is not relevant for them. So it is really customizable in order to set it up for the specific user. And again, our recommendation, remove icons that you don't want your employees to use, because that again makes it a lot easier to use the solution. But what I'll do here in the demo, I'll try to take you through the steps from receiving to pick to ship, doing some counting as well. So you probably will see most of the functionalities available out of the box in the Tasklet solution. So if we start with the receive, if I click on that, I have a total list here of 11 receive orders. So that is once you have created a purchase order or warehouse receive, and that is released, it will be available here on the handheld device. It's not only purchase orders. It can also be sales return orders, as you see here, but it could also be inbound transfer orders. So we have full support for transfer orders also, both inbound and outbound. So one warehouse, it will be an inbound warehouse. Another one, it will be a pick in order to do the outbound transfer order. So we have fully support for that as well. If I go up in the top right corner with the filter, I can filter between my various locations. I can filter through expected receive date, PO number, and in Business Central, you can assign orders to specific users as well. In this scenario, I'll just see all orders. What we see most of our customers do when they receive a pallet with items, if they have barcodes on the items, they'll just scan the first item on the pallet. You've probably heard a bip here. That's because I did a scan. So I actually scan an item and I use that as a filter to see, okay, on which order is this item included? So in this case, on 2 orders. If it was only included in 1 order, I'll automatically go into that specific order and I can see the items that I need to receive. So here I have my item number, item description. I have an image of my item, if you have that on the item card, and the number of units that you need to receive. So now it's just about start receiving your items. So if the pistachio chocolate is on top of the pallet, I'll start scanning them. Then I need to verify it's all 15 there. If they are, I don't even need to click on the green check mark. I can just go to the next item, which is the Marabou orange. And let's assume there's only 7 boxes of Marabou orange. Then I type in 7. And then you can see here I've made a registration, 7 Marabou orange out of 10 and 15 out of 15 of the pistachio. The next item I have on my list is my Puka peppermint tea, which is lot number controlled. So here I can scan this GS1 data matrix barcode that I mentioned earlier. So if I do that, just need to hit it correctly here. Now I scanned it. Then you probably notice there's some steps here in the bottom. So if I just go 1 step back, here I can see I've registered the lot number with the scan, and 1 step more back, I can see the expiration date of the item as well. So again, the advantage with using this data matrix barcode is that I didn't have to put in the expiration date, I didn't have to put in the lot number. Let's see all 15 here as well. The final item I have on my list is my golf balls, which is serial number controlled. So if I scan my golf balls here, I need to put in the serial number as well. So we have full support for inbound serial numbers if you want to do that. And of course, a serial number is unique, so I need to find 3 unique serial numbers in order to receive that. So I start here with receiving serial number 1, number 2. If I do a mistake, then you'll get an error like this, that I'm actually trying to receive the same serial number twice. So you're not allowed to do that. So in order to proceed, I need to find a new unique serial number. So I do that with serial number 3. And now I've done a full registration of that as well. So now everything has been received, except for the 3 boxes of Marabou orange, where I only received 7 out of the 10. So before posting this, I just want to draw your attention to 2 of the features or shortcuts I have here in the bottom. The possibility to attach an image. It could be that I receive something that is wrong or damaged. Let's assume that I received some Puka peppermint tea with licorice and not only peppermint. I can go here and click on my camera. Then I can click on the plus here, and then I activate my camera on my scanner. And next to me, I have some Puka peppermint tea, including licorice, which I was not supposed to receive because it should be only peppermint. So I just say this is wrong. Type that in. Accept it. Click on the green check mark. And here you can see there's an attachment. So once this is posted, that image will be available in Business Central as well. Another feature that we have is the possibility to print labels. So if you are in a position where you receive items where there's no labels, or it could be that some labels are damaged, then it's quite neat to have the possibility to print out, for instance, item labels. So if I want to print out some item labels, I just need to click here on my print icon. I can select what kind of label I want to print. I have my item label 3x2, so I select that. It's a box. If I want to put it outside the box to say, okay, there's actually 10 pieces within the box, then I can do that. But if I want to mark up each and individual label, I'll just select 1 here and print out 10 copies. And then, of course, you need to have a printer in order to be able to print this out. And then you print out the item labels. So this process of handling and printing out labels is already there. We actually have 2 separate solutions for that. So yeah, if you are an existing customer of Tasklet, if you use Cloud Print and is on BC Cloud, we really recommend you to migrate to our new solution report print, which doesn't require any license to Tasklet. So yeah, there's several options for that. So just have a talk with Succeeded in order to find out which print solution fits you the best. But we develop, you can say, the steps, so it's easy to do it from the handheld device. Once I've completed my receive, I go to my burger menu in the bottom. I click here on post. I say yes, even though I didn't receive everything. And here I have an example of data collection. A scanning solution is, of course, a perfect tool to do data collection. So here I can enter a delivery number, but this is just an example. So it's up to you to find out what kind of information do you need, if any, additional. But in this case, I need to put in the delivery note number. Again, I could either scan it or I could type it in manually. Here I'm just typing it in and accept it. And now I'm communicating with Business Central. So now all the items that I received is gone from the order because they're now in my receive zone, leaving back the 3 boxes of Marabou orange. It could be they'll be delivered tomorrow or the week after. If they're never going to be delivered, back office need to delete the order because the warehouse worker is not able to delete anything from the scanner. So that will require an action from back office. Okay, great. So that was the receive part. Everything is now placed in the receive zone. And the next step is to put them into my warehouse. If you're not using bins, just put them in randomly wherever you like it. But most of our customers tend to use bins positions in the warehouse, so they easily can find the items afterwards. In Business Central, once you've created a receive order, it will automatically generate a put away order. So if I just scan an item which I just received, this pistachio chocolate, it will automatically go into that put away order. And it looks very much the same as you just saw. The only difference here is that now I can see where I need to put my items. So the first line you see here on the scanner, W030002, is the bin, the position in the warehouse where I need to put it. It could either be a fixed bin where I can only put it on that specific bin, or it could be a floating bin where you can say this is just a recommendation. You can override it and put it somewhere else if you like to do that. The way you do the put away is that you take your trolley or your forklift with the items, scan my item, scan the bin I'm putting it away to, and 7 pieces. And as I mentioned, you can also do a split put away if you want to do that, put it on 2 positions. So if I want to do that with the pistachio, I scan my bin, say there's only room for 5 on this bin, then the remaining 10, I want to place them on the bin next to it. So do that. Are you sure you want to do that? Put it on this specific bin? Yes, I am. 10 pieces. So now I've done a put away of those 2 first line. If I want to validate where I'm actually put those 15, I can always go to my burger, click on registrations on this line. And then I can see I'm about to post 5 pieces on bin number 1, ending with number 1, and 10 pieces on the bin ending with number 2, sorry. So once I completed this, I go to post, say yes. The 2 first line is now gone because these items is put into my warehouse and ready for orders, both assembly orders, production orders, or sales orders. Then I can put away the remaining items once I have time for that. So that was the receive and put away process, where you get some items in, put them away to the correct bins in your warehouse, and make them available for the next steps in the process. And as mentioned, you can do pick both for production order, assembly orders, or sales orders. And in this scenario, I'll just show you one example. It's our pick for sales order. Again, pick for sales orders. There's also many ways of doing that. I don't have time to show you all in this webinar, but you can pick order by order, and you can pick many orders for many customers at the same time. The last one we call tote picking or multi-pick. This is not standard Business Central functionality. That's something that we added on top because we have a lot of customers who want to be much more efficient in the warehouse and try to pick more orders for more customers at the same time. But what I'll show you today is also a new functionality in Tasklet, and that is the possibility to pick an order and actually book the shipment as well from the scanner. So you don't need to go to a workstation in order to book, for instance, a shipment with TNT or DHL or FedEx or whatever carrier you're actually using. So this is the order that the customer have ordered, shipment number 9. 3 different items. I can see where I can find it. If I, for some reason, try to scan the wrong item, then of course I'll get an error to say this item is not on the order. So again, an example of a validation that we're making sure that the customer is receiving the right items. So what I need to do now is I need to go out and pick my Marabou pistachio. So I'll go out, scan the pistachio, and then I need to scan a tote, because if I want to send it with DHL or TNT, they need to know how many boxes you have and what's the volume and what's the content of that. So here I need to scan a tote. A tote could be a license plate or like a pallet ID, or it could be a box, or it could be a container. That's up to you. In this scenario, I'll just call it box number 1. So I'll put 3 pieces in box number 1. I'll go out and scan my T. I need to register my lot number, so I need to scan that. And if there's room for it, I can put it in box number 1. And let's say that it's room for it, so I'll just click here on next. 2 pieces. And finally, I'll pick up my Marabou orange, and I'll put that in a new box because there's no room for it in box number 1. So I'll put that in box number 2. And then the system says, are you sure you want to put that in a new box? Yes, I am. 2 pieces. So now I've completed this order, or at least I picked the order, put it in two boxes, box number 1 and box number 2. And in Business Central, you're still able to see what you actually put on in box number 1 and box number 2. It could be that you're sending like 10 pallets or 10 boxes to a customer, and they want to have some documentation what's actually in the boxes. If there's a lot of mix of items, then this is quite neat that you can do that. It could also be a scenario when the customer calls you that I can't find this item. Then you can look in Business Central, see it's supposed to be in box number 8 or pallet number 10 because you made that registration here. So that's a quite neat functionality that we have this license plate for outbound, which a lot of customers is using. Once the order is picked, it's placed in the shipment zone, and then the next step is to basically book the shipment. In order to do this directly from the scanner, it's very important to mention that you need an applications like Ship-it 365 or similar to be able to handle this in Business Central. Because what we do now is to deliver this information to Business Central. Then an application needs to take that and book the shipment at DHL, TNT, or FedEx, or again, what kind of carrier you're using. But I'll just go into the order with box number 1 and 2 that I just picked. If I want to see what's in the box, I can always just click here on content. And then I can see in this box there's 2 pieces of Marabou orange. Great. And the reason why it's 20 here is that's because it's 2 boxes of 10, so there's actually 20 pieces in total. So that's the reason why there's a difference there. This order has been set up to be sent with DHL, and in Business Central, I have set up some check marks on when I'm sending it with DHL. DHL needs some kind of information. So once I'm ready to finalize box number 1, I just click on the line. Then I need to select what kind of box am I using to send this. I'm using a medium box. And when it's a medium box, DHL needs to know the weight of it. Let's say it's 25 kilos. And that's it. So the medium box always have this size, so I don't need to fill that out as well. I'll take the next box, box number 2. And let's just call that a small box. Here I need to put in the weight as well. But I also need to confirm the size of the box, because that can vary from small box to small box apparently. So the width is 10 centimeters, the length is 10, and let's just say that the height of it is 5. I change that, and then I put that in. So now I have a green check mark on box number 1 and box number 2, and when I click here on post, I'm sending back the information to Business Central. If you have Ship-it 365 or other solutions, then they'll take that information and book the shipment through Nship or Transmart with DHL and FedEx or whatever, and then shipping labels will be printed out in your warehouse. It sounds complicated, It's not complicated, at least for the warehouse worker. And once this is set up, there's no need to go to a workstation to do additional thing in order to book a shipment. Everything can be done here from the handheld device, as long as you have everything in place in the back end. So we have prepared everything to be able to do that. There's a lot of, especially Dutch customers, that is using this already for that purpose. So yeah, if it has your interest and want to know more about that, what's needed to set that up, to have a talk with your partner, Succeed IT, and they will help you. Great. So that was an introduction to receive, put away, and doing the picks. I also want to draw your attention to the counting part, which again, it's mandatory for companies to do an annual counting at least. So in this scenario, I'll just show you how you can do that from a handheld device. So once you have created a physical inventory journal in Business Central and it's released, the employee can see what's needed to be counted on the scanner. Again, you can remove the paper. So in the old days, people went out with a piece of paper, write it that was 8 cables for loudspeakers, and then you go back to a workstation and need to type it in. In this case, again, you can make sure it's the correct items that you're actually counting. So I'll scan the item. It is the cables, and it's on this specific bin. Then I can type in the number. Let's say that's 25 boxes. 25 is now green. It doesn't mean it's correct. It just means that I've put in a registration, because as default, we don't show how many that's supposed to be there. That can be changed if you prefer to show your warehouse people how many there should be there, but we don't do that as default. Once I've completed my count, I go to my burger, click here on post. Then the data is transferred to the journal in Business Central. Then the warehouse managers or someone else will make sure that whether or not this is correct according to what is supposed to be in your warehouse. If it's correct, they'll just post the journal. If it's not correct, they can send it back to the scanner to do a recount. Great. So that's counting, the planned count. We can do an unplanned count as well. I don't want to show you that here. It's more like if you want to do some ad hoc counting, you can do that. We can do an adjust quantity. So if you want to reduce your warehouse level of a specific item with a recent code, then you do the adjust quantity. And in this scenario, I need to scan first my bin, scan my item. Then I want to remove one box. And then in Business Central, you have several recent codes on why you want to remove things. And it's up to you to determine what the text should be. If it was chocolate, I could set I've eaten it, but it's not chocolate, it's the cable. So I'll just say they're damaged. And now I have reduced this with one piece. So again, simple to do here from the handheld device. Movements can also be done with the scanner. We can do a planned move. I'll briefly give you an introduction to that. It could be that you have a planned move where you want to move things from your bulk inventory to your pick inventory part of the warehouse. Then Business Central can automatically generate these move orders. And then here you can see what you need to do in order to move these loudspeakers from this bin to this bin. So this is used by a lot of customers, but most customers use our unplanned move. It could be in a scenario where you have some top selling items that's in the back of the warehouse and you want to move them to the front of the warehouse in order to be a lot more efficient. Then I say, okay, I want to move this item. I want to move it from this bin. I'm only taking one box in this scenario and want to put it on this bin. And then I've done the move and I've updated Business Central and everything is correct. Again, you're doing this while you handle at the same time as you're handling the items, and not just typing it in, putting it on a piece of paper, leaving it somewhere else, and then someone else have to put it into Business Central. So again, it is a lot more efficient being able to do that from the handheld device. Bulk move is the possibility to move everything from one pallet to another, from one bin to another. So if I scan here my bin, I want to move everything to this bin. Then I've moved everything on that specific bin. It could be a mixed pallet, so it's a lot easier just moving everything in one go. And that's something that we can do with our bulk move. We have locate item, bin content. It's lookup functionalities here on the scanner. I'll just show you the first one here, locate item. So if I want to know where my item is located, just scan or type in the item number, and then I can see in this case that this item is there's 16 pieces on this bin and 200 pieces on this bin. So again, you can see on the scanner where things are. You don't need to go to a workstation to see that kind of information. Great. Bin content is the other way around, where you want to see what's on a specific bin. We also have support for production and assembly orders. I don't want to go into details with that today, just respect of time. If it has your interest in knowing more about how we can do registration of consumption or registration of output in production, please reach out to Succeeded and they can help you. And assembly orders is assembly to stock. I'll briefly touch base on that here. If you want to create or assembly a chocolate display, you can do the assembly order directly here from the handheld device. You can see the bill of material, what's actually included. You need some orange chocolate, mint chocolate, and this cardboard display in order to do it. So this is also possible to do here on the handheld device. Great. So that was a quick introduction or flyover of the basic functionalities that you get with Tasklet out of the box, working together with Business Central. Yeah, and I think in respect of time, I'll go to my slideshow again, because there I will be able to show you some of the new stuff coming up. So I'll just stop sharing this and I'll go to my slides here. And I'll try to share them just a second. So now you should be able to see my slides again.
Yeah.
So I'll just skip that slide here and go to our roadmap, because we want to have a bit of a look into what's next from Tasklet and what's actually cooking in the lab. We have been quite busy the last couple of years. So a lot of the things that I actually showed you today is new functionality that's been added the last couple of years. Everything around production, assembly, the pack and ship part, and the report print that are also common in order to be able to print labels in receive, and also for outbound purposes as well. But the next big thing coming up is our inbound license plate, which I'll comment about shortly. But we're also trying to make it even easier for you as a customer and our partners to do configurations. Again, simple without being a developer, so you can change things on the app directly from Business Central. So that's also something that we have in focus, to do things even more user-friendly than we are doing today, even though it is quite user-friendly already. But there are some things that you need to have a consultant assisting you with, but we try to remove more and more with that, so it's possible for you to do that yourself as a customer. But if we just zoom in on one of the new things coming up, the inbound license plate, we actually hope they will be ready before the summer, but as you know, with development, sometimes things can be delayed, so hopefully it'll be ready after the summer. It is our inbound license plate. I showed you our outbound, where we have the possibility to put things in box number 1 and box number 2, and having an ID that you also can see in Business Central what you put into those boxes. We also have a huge requirement, and again, the Netherlands is one of the markets where we hear that the most often, to support inbound license plating, meaning that if you receive, for instance, a pallet or a box, you want to put an ID on that pallet, so you always know what's on that pallet throughout the process. So what we're going to deliver is the possibility to create or build, as it says here, a license plate, doing a put away of the license plate, and once it's in the warehouse, you can do an unplanned move of that license plate as well. It's really important to mention that license plate is not something that's standard in Business Central, and that's why it took a little bit longer than we might have expected to develop this. But it's a huge requirement for customers to be able to support this. So of course we want to deliver on that, and in 2024, we are pretty sure that this will be available in our solution as well. So this is something to look forward to as a customer, at least if it's a requirement of yours. Another new thing from Tasklet is our free trial. So if you are a potential customer of Tasklet, haven't tried it before, and you think this presentation looked interesting and you want to have some hands-on your own, Now we have the possibility actually to offer you a free trial version. It will require, however, that you have a scanner that is supported by Tasklet in order to be able to do that. But if you have a scanner, then it's easy to get started. You also need to be on Business Central Cloud. But if you have that, you basically just need to scan the QR code here, and then we'll guide you through the process. So the steps is, as you see here on the screen, you need to download the extension for Business Central. You need to download the app for the scanner, and then you scan a barcode, and then that actually connects to a sandbox environment. So there's a free test period to test it, the standard version of Tasklet on your sandbox environment. And again, I can only encourage you to try it out and see how it works in your warehouse. Succeeded is also able to assist you. So again, reach out to them if there's any questions regarding this. But it's a great opportunity that you can now do this for free without any basic limitations, because the limitation is it's only in the sandbox, but there's full functionality available. Great. I think that was all from my side, and as Marielle said in the beginning, we had some time for some questions here in the end.
Yes. Which barcodes are supported in the mobile warehouse management system?
And we basically support all standard barcodes, but what I showed you on the PowerPoint, the classic 1D barcode, which you know from the supermarket, but also the QR-like barcodes like GS1 Data Matrix, which is heavily used and recommended by us if you have item tracking like a lot number or serial number. So basically all standard barcodes is supported.
Very nice. And how many mobile devices can be added to the mobile warehouse management system?
Yeah, it really depends. You can say if we talk about approved devices, then of course, as mentioned, we have like 30 different approved devices, but there's no limitation on how many licenses or scanners you can have. I think the largest customers we currently have is like 300 to 400 scanners working on multiple warehouses. Of course, I think it's actually a Canadian customer using it across Canada. For us, there's no limitations. It's more like it should fit the requirements of the customer. Then we can use Tasklet.
All right, good to know. And how long does it take to implement Tasklet Factory?
I would say the Tasklet part is the easy part. Installing the application and our app for Business Central is pretty easy. It's a few hours that needs to be spent on that, even faster if you're good. But you can say the big job is to have a dialogue with your partner, succeeded in which processes you want to run your warehouse in Business Central. Because that's something that takes time. That of course we always recommend, and I'm sure Succeeded do that as well. Do your company fit into what is standard in Business Central? If you do that, then it's also a lot more simple than if you want to do a rewriting of the whole process in Business Central. So to answer your question, Marielle, the Tasklet part is pretty easy, and the part of setting up Business Central is really depending on the needs and requirements of the customer.
All right, good. Great. I was wondering if there are questions from you, from the participants.
No.
Well, not yet. Well, if you do have questions, please reach out to me, and I will ask Martin to answer these questions later on. And for now, I want to thank you for your time and to participate in our webinar. And thank you, Martin, for your great story, your nice demonstration, how it works, and the new features that are coming up. So very curious about that. So for now, thank you very much. Have a nice day, and please reach out to me if you have more questions or you need to know more. So thank you, and thank you, Martin.
Yeah, thank you all, and thank you for your interest, and hopefully you see some benefit in this presentation. As Marielle said, reach out to her, and they will take it from there. Have a nice day out there.
Have a nice day. Thank you very much.